What are we up to at this point?
No way I'm predicting wins. I know enough about enough things not to do that, but I like our team. I feel good. We got to continue to grow, continue to get better, but we built a good foundation over the summer, a good base, and then adding in when our Europeans get here and just adding on to it.
What is the challenge when you've had, I mean, I'm not in your practice, but I don't know if you have enough to go 5-on-5, at least not all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
What's it like building a team when you're literally building it 4 and then 6 and then 7 and then 8? Like what has that process been like?
It's been good. You know, for me, with everybody being new, players and staff, that's kind of how you have to do it. You know, you have to build it and then add to it. So, you know, starting 1-on-1, 2-on-2 with defensive schemes and offensive schemes is kind of how I was going to do it anyway this summer. And so it's kind of played into what I wanted to do. Either way, some of the stuff that really has affected just part of the team building. And once you get the full team this fall is when we can really start with that. But besides that, it's been good. And we've had, you know, it's enough former players and stuff in Miami where you have enough where you can go against and play against.
It has kind of been a unofficial summer league facility this summer. How important is not just former Canes, but you know a lot of NBA guys are here a lot in the summer, just to open the doors to them, make sure they know that they're comfortable here. It's got to be like a win-win.
It is a win-win, and also gives the opportunity for some of the players to see what a pro is. You know what I mean? Because most of them want to be NBA players, and most of them want to be pros, and then you know you get the opportunity to play against and see how they work, their mindset, and things like that. So it is an advantage when I'm trying to sell my message.
Now that you're going through it, how daunting is it to have nobody on your roster and have to put an entire team together in one cycle?
It's daunting. It's daunting, but it was always something I said I was going to do. So I stayed true to what I said I was going to do and who I said I was going to be. And I think it's important in this day and age to, especially because it's such quick turnaround, is that trying to get as many people who are aligned with your message and what you believe in as soon as possible.
Coach, you spoke in your introductory press conference about the talent level in South Florida.
Yep.
I think you guys picked out 7 guys from Florida. Just how much of an emphasis was that throughout the portal and recruiting cycle that you had to, acquire players from Florida?
It was a big emphasis, especially early on, because you have to have, especially when you're building a new program, you have to have some type of carrot. You know what I mean? So getting kids to want to come back home and play at home, which is not as easy as it sounds either. I was one of those players who went back home and played at home, so understanding that messaging of being back around friends and family 24/7, that's a different layer that you have to add to it. But it's important for me, for the people, the players, the community of South Florida to feel like they have somewhere that's home, and I want that to be here. So, it was important for me, like when Dante decommitted from Villanova, I've watched Dante play for 3 years, so I knew exactly what Dante was about, his intangibles, his family, his demeanor on the court. So as soon as he decommitted, he was one of the first people that I identified. I think my first day on the job, I think I went up to Orlando to go see him.
And then with Sheldon, just how's he coming along this summer? And I guess what do you hope to envision from him this year? And how do you plan to get the most out of his skill set?
Yeah, Sheldon's had a good summer. It's hard. He gained 10 pounds, which looking at him is hard to envision, but it was the right 10 pounds that he gained. And for him, it's just getting him to step outside the shell. He's naturally a quiet, reserved kid. Us and the staff always tease him every day is until he knows how good he is, then he won't be that good. But getting him to understand how good he is and his impact that he can have right away as a freshman is really important for us.
It's been a month now of just the house settlement era, I guess, in college sports. Obviously, Miami is a quote-unquote football school, but basketball success in the past. How do you, go about trying to manage the resources you get? How often do you go into, Dan Radakovich or higher, to talk about resources for the program and revenue sharing money and stuff like that?
Yeah, so when I first got here, it's completely different from where it is now with the new settlement and what it will be next year. So it's all still kind of fluid and just kind of figuring out, initially on the front end, you're able to do some of the collective stuff and a little bit more of that. But moving forward, it's just all up to the NCAA and the NIL Go and what they claim passes or not passes. So it all depends on that. But we'll kind of operate, as normal. A big thing for me and my program is the development of getting people here who can grow with the program. So some of those people I was talking about before, like a Dante, like a Sheldon, like a Marcus Allen, and then some of the other guys that we got that'll be here multiple years, and then using the portal to just kind of fill in holes. And I think that's going to be kind of the new way you have to do it in this day and age with the revenue sharing and not knowing exactly, what your money and what you'll be able to get looks like.
Is it like, I mean, because Jim Larinaga talked about it when he stepped down, that he was shocked that after reaching the Final Four, players were coming up to him and saying, like, I want more money and stuff like that. Now that it's more direct through the schools, through the programs, is that something that, like, you expect to be dealing with, like, yourself? Is there someone you can say, well, go talk to so-and-so? And how, I guess, is that still, like, a work in progress, like, how that's going to work? I guess it's all new to everyone.
Yeah, meaning, like, where the money comes from? Or
yeah, like if a player comes up and says, hey, I'd like a raise.
Yep.
Like, is that something you say, go talk to so-and-so? Or is that, like, how or is it just like we'll see what happens when it happens?
Well, nowadays you have agents, and the agents are the main factors in college basketball right now. So, the kid might not say something, but after the meeting, you're going to get a call. And that's just it's where we are. So we have to deal with it. We have to adapt to it, and we got to figure out how can we be the best. And part of what I was saying is how can we build strong enough relationships and show them how important their development is to us, where there is some type of connection to us and the program instead of to just a financial situation. If it's just a financial situation, then most of the time it's not going to be kids we want in the program.
You mentioned Dante a couple of times. You might have a little bit of experience with having a dad that's done some stuff in the game. How does Dante handle, first, just being Dante, and secondly, that expectation that comes when you're Malik's kid?
Yeah. No, for Dante, and I knew this, and then being around him and seeing him work this summer, I knew what his work ethic was, but it is a completely different level than I imagined. Like, just his conditioning and his mentality to attack every day is impressive, and I knew he would have it just because of his background and knowing who his dad is and who his dad works for and everything that he's done. But also, just understanding what that means. I'm able to draw a connection with Dante because it's not easy. You add a self-pressure because of all the expectations you put on yourself. Everybody may not put them on you, but, for me, my dad and my brother both played in the NBA. So growing up, if I didn't play in the NBA, I felt like a failure. You know what I mean? And then when you don't play in the NBA, you got to deal with that and get over that part of it. So just getting Dante to understand he's his own man and he's his own person, and to whatever his journey and his path will be, to be okay with it and accept it.
Jay, how are you doing? How's your adjustment to being a head coach been? How different has it been for you?
It's different. It's been good. I'm not complaining at all, but it is different. It's a lot more talking. That's the biggest part. But, the biggest thing that I've been able to do and I wanted to do was hire a really good staff. And doing that's given me the ability to delegate a lot of stuff and not feel like have to coach everything. I am having to coach a lot because we're all new. Most of my staff I never work with. The players are completely new, so my terminology is different from what they have had, and it's just the little details of that. But I had the benefit of being able to hire good staff and have good players and a good group of guys that's made the transition so far easy.
Kind of a two-part question about the international players. Just first, what are you excited about each of them, and then secondly about Noam.
Yep.
That's the name.
Noam. Yep.
Noam.
Yep.
I know he's like 23. Just how important was it when you were rounding out your roster this summer to find a guard specifically that was more experienced, more veteran, and kind of lead what is a somewhat younger team?
Yeah, no, for me, it was really important that just kind of how the rules changed and everything that happened with the European players. A big part of it for me when I was looking at them was I wanted people who play professional basketball, and I wanted them all to be a little bit older. Solly ends up being the youngest, he's 19, but Timo's 21, and then like you said, Noam is 23. And I just think that added experience of playing professionally but also being older helps when it comes to college, because it's a completely different game. No matter how old they are, what level they played at, it's completely different than anything that they will experience here. So I think the age and the physicality is the one thing that translate right away. So that was important to me when looking at the Europeans. And for Solly, his size and his ability to rebound and play in tight spaces It's one of the things I'm most important about with Timo is his ability to play 4 and 3 and kind of be a pick and pop 4-man and a 3-and-D guy. Kind of fits with our team and what we have. And then Noam just adding another ball handler, but also somebody with enough size that he can play with all the guards. You know what I mean? So you can put him out there with Trey and Dante or Shelton, him. You know, it just gives you the ability to be versatile.
And then you're time for something more. You're a defensive guy, coming from a defensive background.
Yep.
How does this new roster kind of fit what you want to do defensively? So
Yeah, it is kind of the thing that we focus on the most this summer. And that's the thing that I've hung my hat on as a coach, but we'll also hang our hat on as a program and a team here. So it's the thing we've really dug into. I like our size. I like our athleticism. Depending on the matchups and who we have on the court, we'll see some of the stuff we do, but it gives us the ability to do a bunch of different things defensively.